Let's face it, you've been manipulated your entire life. You've been made to believe that your desire is your identity. Let your motivation define your goals. Let your appetite determine who you are. But listen carefully, this story is not yours. They planted it inside you like an invisible thorn, guiding your every move without you even realizing it. And the worst part is, you accepted it. You became a smiling slave, a prisoner who thinks he's in control. You know what's most dangerous about all this? You're convinced you're dead if you don't constantly seek pleasure, that you're worthless if you don't find sexual validation. Have you ever wondered why? Because a person trapped by desire is the easiest to control. Because by lusting, you forget your soul. Because in your obsession to impress, you build other empires. And this is where it gets exciting. Because what I'm about to tell you contradicts everything you've ever learned. You don't have to give up your desire. What you have to do is use it as a weapon. Master your mind. Desensitizing your mind doesn't mean turning it off. This means redirecting it. Transform your energy from external success to internal mastery. What I want to show you is not abstinence. This is transmutation, and this, my friend, is the secret they want to keep from you. The desensitized mind is modern man's greatest weapon, because a man who doesn't follow his instincts is unpredictable, and unpredictability is dangerous. Have you ever been in a room where everyone was following their instincts, and suddenly someone walks in without following your orders? You don't know whether to fear them or admire them, but you do know one thing. This guy has power and you don't know why. I'm telling you because he doesn't abuse his will. Think about it. How many decisions in your life have been influenced by the need for recognition? How many paths have you avoided for fear of not being good enough? How many times have you sacrificed your time, money, and energy just to get recognition? Each time you lost a part of yourself, and you did it willingly. That's the worst part. You did it with a smile, convinced that it was freedom. But listen carefully to this. The desensualized mind is not a cold mind. It is a mind that burns but does not consume itself. She is a spirit that observes, understands and respects desire, but does not serve it. She is not a slave. She is a queen. She's a strategist. And at that moment, when desire stops being a tyrant and becomes a servant, the game changes. Let me take you to a dark place. A man who spends his life seeking recognition for his body. He lives to be appreciated. He exercises, dresses well, and gets into debt. It's all just a show. And when you get it, you feel like you've won something. But that something disappears in a few minutes because it never existed. Because it was never his. And then the vicious cycle begins again. You know what it's called? Addiction, but disguised as self-esteem, success, masculinity. And here's the question that's going to bother you. If no one could desire you tomorrow, would you still feel worthy? If the answer is no, you're lost, because you've built your identity on shifting sands. And with every second, you sink deeper. The solution: desensitize your mind, separate your worth from your appreciation, come back to yourself, start again. But of course, it's not pleasant, because it means killing a part of yourself. A role you've been cultivating since your first advertisement, since your first compliment, since you were told that a real man wins. I'll correct you. A real man conquers himself, and for that you need a free spirit, a mind that doesn't react but decides, that doesn't doubt but chooses. Do you want to know why great leaders, great thinkers, and great creators have an almost supernatural aura? Because their minds are desensitized, not for lack of desire, but because they have mastered it. They have transformed their energy into action, their drive into vision, their thirst into legacy. While the rest of the world chases bodies, they chase eternity. But let's dig a little deeper, because psychology doesn't lie. Freud already said that sexual energy, if not wasted, can be sublimated. Do you know what that means? That the same force that draws you to the abyss can carry you to Olympus. When you learn to control your fire, you can build with it. When you stop reacting, you can begin to create. It's a psychological, mental, and human alchemy. And you wonder, how will you achieve this? It won't happen overnight. It's a battle against yourself. As soon as you feel the need to impress, stop. Ask yourself why. Whenever you feel the need for validation, take a deep breath and observe the emptiness, because therein lies the trap. We have been taught to run from the emptiness, but emptiness is not the enemy. It is the space where we can rebuild ourselves. The desensitized mind is dangerous because it has no needs. And if you don't need it, you won't beg. And if you don't beg, no one will be able to use it. So you are free. Do you know what it's like to walk down the street without trying to be recognized? It's like walking above the noise. It's like being in a world where everyone is shouting, but you move in silence. And that silence is terrifying. Because it's revealing. Because it disturbs people. Because it shows that we're no longer in the know. That's what he says. Do you want to know why many will attack you if you take this path? Because you remind them of their weakness? Because you show them there is another way. And that hurts. A servile person can't stand to see someone motionless. And they'll try anything. They'll mock your silence. They'll mock your self-control. They'll call you cold, strange, and distant because you're taking away their excuses. Because when you were a slave, everything was fine. But once you're free, that idea becomes unbearable. And then the loneliness begins. Because this path is not popular. It is not celebrated. It is not rewarded. And yet you feel it deep within yourself. Like an unshakable certainty. Like an inner axis that doesn't move, even when everything around it trembles. This is the power of the desensitized mind. It doesn't need to prove anything, it simply exists. And its mere existence changes the environment. But the worst happens. The real enemy isn't there. It's inside you. It's your own voice telling you can't. That it's not worth it. It's easier to play. You have to silence that voice. Because it's not yours. It is the voice of the world that speaks through your mouth. You must silence it. Not with shouts, not with actions, not with discipline, not with a will as sharp as a sword. And if you do this work, the day will come when you look back and no longer recognize who you were, because your old self was programmed, and your current self is awake. And this awakening is brutal, because we see everything. We see those who crawl. We see the threads of manipulation. You see the chains, and you leave. Not because it's better. That's because you've chosen something almost no one else chooses: control. So the next time you're tempted to seek validation, stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself. Neither for your body nor for your clothes. Observe yourself carefully and ask yourself the question: who's in charge? If the answer isn't yours, you're not free yet. But if you can hold your head high and assert that you're the one in charge, then you've succeeded. You've broken the cycle. You've crossed the line and there's no turning back. That, my friend, is power. This is freedom. This is what they fear. The mind devoid of all meaning is not only modern man's most powerful weapon. That's the last question. And now we open an even deeper door. For if the desensitized mind is the weapon, there is one unavoidable question. Who are you really fighting against? Most people think it's against other people, against society, against culture, against external noise, and yes, it's a tie. But the real enemy, the most dangerous of all, is emotional conditioning, that invisible system that makes you react without thinking, who combined joy and gratitude, self-esteem and desire, and his identity with the echo of a glance. Let's talk about emotional conditioning. This psychological trap distorts your relationship with the world, yourself and your goals, because desire is not born pure. He's polite. He's manipulative. From a young age, we're taught that love must be earned. This value is measured by the attention received. Those who are unwanted do not exist. Result, a divided person. They constantly seek self-respect from others, but their emotional conditioning goes beyond sexual desire. It's something deeper. It's the way we talk to ourselves, the way we make decisions. How do you cope with silence? It's that fear you feel when no one writes to you. That feeling of emptiness when you receive no outward sign of your existence. It's not a craving. It's a reflexive addiction. And a person suffering from a reflexive addiction is blind to their inner reality. The desensualized mind is also one that has detached itself from reflection. It has stopped seeking itself outside. It has learned to be alone without feeling empty. Because here's the hard truth. It's not loneliness that scares you, but what you hear when you face it. It's the inner noise. It's the echo of all the insecurities you've tried to cover up with distractions. Do you know why so many men fail in silence? Because they don't know how to handle the situation. Because silence doesn't lie. Silence doesn't flatter. Silence doesn't reflect a distorted image of oneself. Silence reveals who you really are. And that's why you run from it. That's why you run toward desire, noise, to anything that obscures this pure reflection. But here's the trick. In that silence lies your power. In this unfiltered mirror lies the truth you've been avoiding. For when you stop reacting, you begin to observe. And when you observe unnecessarily, you discover the truth. Body language, hidden intentions, projected emotions. And you, from the inside, don't react. You calculate, analyze, act. You are no longer the emotional actor. You are the chess player. Because the desensitized mind is not a dead mind. It is a strategic mind. And the world is a chessboard. Let's move forward. Let's get to the root. This blind impulse, which many mistake for passion, is not passion. It is fear in disguise. It's a need. It's an emotional dependence disguised as desire, and it weakens you. An addicted person, even one clad in steel, bleeds inside. And the world smells of blood. The question you must ask yourself is not, how do I win? But why must I win? For if the root of your actions is need, everything you build will be contaminated. Everything will be fragile and unstable. And modern man who yearns for freedom cannot afford to be so fragile. He cannot afford to depend on the smile of others to feel alive. And this brings us to a concept that few people understand: emotional autonomy. That state of mind where we stop begging for energy and start generating it. The moment when your mood no longer depends on the outside world. Do you know how many people are emotionally devastated from not having cultivated this autonomy? They live in hope of validation soon. Their inner peace depends on the response they receive. Your self-esteem fluctuates based on the number of likes you receive. That's not life. That's digital slavery. Emotional autonomy is being able to walk away without drama. It's being able to say no without guilt. It's not having to impress to feel whole. Existence doesn't depend on the will of others. When we reach that point, we realize it. People begin to perceive something different in us. They don't know what it is, but they have a feeling. And they're worried because they can't buy it. They can't bear it. They can't wear it. And that's a threat in a world where masks are ubiquitous. But be careful. Don't confuse autonomy with isolation. It's not about not connecting. It's about connecting from a position of fulfillment, not need. A perfect person doesn't give up out of fear of loneliness. They give up voluntarily, and that changes everything. Because love born of choice is freedom. Love born of necessity is a cage. And now, let's talk about focus. Because all the energy you redirect needs a purpose. The desensualized mind doesn't empty itself. It's reinvested in creation, meaning, presence, and depth. Because here's another dirty secret. Desire distracts you. And when you control it, life slows down. We become more aware, more centered, more present. And then we see what others don't. A centered person is not intense. It's precise. It's selective. And in a world where everyone is scattered, the one who masters their focus wins. Do you know what the real superpower is in our age of constant stimulation? Sustained attention. The ability to be present without distraction, without being sidetracked, without seeking immediate gratification. This is what separates empire builders from stoners. But this is the most powerful aspect. Those who desensitize their minds never stop feeling. They begin to feel everything more clearly. By filtering out the noise, your perception becomes sharper. Your intuition becomes more accurate. Your judgment becomes more accurate. His presence is stronger. He no longer speaks to please, he speaks to change. He no longer acts to impress. He acts to shock. And that, my friend, is the true revolution. A mind that no longer reacts like an animal, but like the architect of its own existence. A mind that needs no applause because it acts with purpose. A mind that does not seek connection because it is complete in itself. The world isn't ready for men like that, because they're impossible to manipulate, because they don't buy what they're being sold, because you don't fit into any mold. But you're not here to fit in. You're here to break the mold. Disable the system from the inside out. Be the anomaly that demonstrates that it is possible to live in freedom, that it is possible to feel free from dependency, that it's possible to be intense without losing control. That's your role. That's your path. The desensitized mind is not an end. It's a beginning. The start of a new way of being in the world, a new way to inhabit your body, your mind, and your time, a new way to love without begging, to create without permission, to exist without chains. And when you reach that point, you'll understand why all the pain was worth it, because you're not just living anymore. You're truly living. No need, no mask, no fear, just you and your iron will. That's who you are now. That's who you are when you decide to stop being a slave. This is what you are when you choose freedom. And now we have reached the limit. Not the limit of the video, but the limit of the abyss. For it is no accident that you have come this far. There's something inside you that's already awakened. Something that's been knocking at your door for a long time. Something just waiting to come out. Pray for salvation. This isn't just a conversation. This isn't just a video. This is a mirror. And you know it. For while others continue to run from their own destiny, you stand here facing your most brutal reflection. I want you to understand this. The desensitized mind is not a fad. It is not a posture. Beautifying your social media is not a pleasant philosophy. It's a declaration of war, a silent war against everything that holds you captive, against every mental current you envisioned a caress, against every impulse you envisioned freedom. This is not oppression. It's a matter of choice, of absolute control, of nothing, absolutely nothing. Decide who you are. Do you know why this ending isn't really an ending? Because what begins now is the hardest part. Applying. Put it into practice. Live what you've just learned. And this is precisely where many fail. Because understanding gives strength, but maintaining that understanding day after day transforms you. It makes you one of the few capable of looking the world straight in the eye without bowing your head. And at this point, I want to warn you. You will lose things, people, habits, and spaces that no longer suit you. The price of freedom is that you can't take everything with you. But what you gain will be greater than any loss. You will gain clarity and peace. We acquire an identity that we no longer need to reinvent every morning. We acquire the strength to no longer need anything, and from there we can build anything. I want you to do something now, but not for me. For you, write a sentence in the comments. Those who need nothing rule. That is why I know you have reached the end. That is why I know you are not just another person. You're one of those who really feel it. One of those who are ready to change the rules, even if it means burning everything down. And if this resonates with you, if you feel that this isn't just entertainment, but an inner revolution, then sign up. Because here you won't find the same recycled messages as everywhere else. Here we will dismantle every layer of lies imposed on you. Here we will expose your most raw, freest, and deepest self. See you in the next video. Or not, it's your choice. But when you return, don't be the same. Come back wiser, smarter, and more yourself. And now I bid you farewell, as is fitting. Quietly, let everything you heard tonight resonate in your head. Because if you can't sleep after this video, it's because you're finally waking up. I see you where few people see you, inside